How's it going, guys? Vaibhav here and welcome back to another video. Now in today's video, let's talk about Huawei's foldable devices. I've had the chance to use both the Huawei Mate X and the XS, and if you want to see more in-depth videos on them, go and check out GN Tech by clicking the card above. But in today's video, let's talk a bit about Huawei's next foldable smartphone, and the news is coming from Let's Go Digital, which is a Dutch source of information for technology, and they basically say that Huawei has filed a patent for a new design for foldable smartphones, and it was filed on July the 12th, 2019 and was approved on April the 28th, 2020. So that's a long time for approval, but it sort of makes sense, and the design is going off of what the Galaxy Fold from Samsung brings today. So we've got the big screen on the inside, a smaller screen on the outside with a quad camera setup it looks like, but the camera is supposed to bring zoom capabilities on the phone. Now if we match zoom and this sort of camera together, this might be the camera that we find on the Huawei P40 Pro or P40 Pro Plus for that matter. So it's going to be a premium device, no doubt. Now instead of going through this article, I'll just leave it down in the description for you to check out. I actually wanted to go through the patent itself. So I found the patent using the website, and what I did was actually translate bits and pieces of it to let you guys know what this is sort of telling us. So the first part here is basically official information, nothing really on the product. Now this part over here basically tells us that it's basically a patent using product name and using the design of the product. So again, not really too much about the product. These labels are basically the views of the product. So this is a perspective view, front view, back view, side view, top view, etc. And I've had some of them translated over so you can see that too. Whereas the last part of this information basically talks a lot about the product. Now we're gonna go over this, but before that, let's actually address the design. So it's pretty much a Samsung Galaxy Fold concept design. Now, I'm not a fan of this because Huawei did something different with its foldable smartphones, and I wish they can continue to do that because I think that just brings some variety to foldable smartphones. I don't want foldable smartphones to become the same generic smartphones from every single manufacturer like smartphones, normal smartphones these days have become. But basically this design allows for an external or a large screen in the inside of the phone with a smaller screen on the outside and nothing in the background. Now there's a camera here, quad camera setup. It looks to be that of the P40 Pro or the P40 Pro Plus, as I mentioned, and I think it's going to focus a lot on camera capabilities, and this makes sense because this device might be coming to us sometime in 2020, late 2020 in October, when Huawei also announces the Mate 40 series, and I think that would make it a good segue into like the new foldable smartphone, and that's when the Galaxy Fold 2 is also rumored to launch. So yeah, this is practically the design. Now the screen on the inside looks very futuristic. Like there's pretty much no bezel to it, which is a great feature. There's no punch hole camera, there's no notch whatsoever, and I think this all makes sense because Huawei didn't have any sort of notch in the first place in the Mate X or the Mate XS, and they obviously want to carry that forward. Now what that means is you only get one pair of cameras, and when you're using the front display, which looks a bit smaller than the one found on the current gen Mate XS, you'll be getting that quad camera setup staring at front of you. But I don't know in terms of specifications what we should expect. I'm hoping it's going to be a 5G product. Pretty sure Huawei will do that. It's going to have the latest Kirin, not 990 5G, it'll probably have the 1000 5G, which would be the next step in the Kirin processing lineup. And in terms of how rugged or durable this thing is, I would guess going off of the Mate XS, it would be pretty rugged and durable. It looks to be a pretty thick smartphone. If you look at the side view right here, it still looks like two smartphones folded together, but I don't think Huawei will really take this approach. Now, granted, this is only a patent, so you can't really expect Huawei to go with this design just because they have the patent for themselves. I don't think that's how it works. This is just a way of Huawei sort of thinking what they can do to expand the foldable lineup and just experimenting to see if this sort of phone might be successful. But I don't think Huawei should translate this into a full consumer device because the Mate X sort of series that they've got going on makes perfect sense. And I think if they can improve the ruggedness or the durability of the front screen, make it less susceptible to, you know, damage when you're folding it over and over again, it would make for an amazing way to have variety in the foldable smartphone market. But yeah, this is basically the patent. We don't know anything about the screen size, the screen resolution, pricing, ports, anything at all. This is just schematics of the patent, and I thought I'd share it with you guys. And there we are. That's the last thing I wanted to discuss. So these are 5 points. So the name of this design product, mobile phone 122, which I think is to do with how this thing is translated. So it's not the most accurate, but basically a phone that can go from 1 to 2, or something like a foldable smartphone. The purpose of this design product is mainly to provide network communication, voice calls, transaction processing, data storage, recording, audio, picture browsing, etc. So basically describing what a smartphone is. The design points of this design product lies in the overall shape of the product. So that's how it's different. It's sort of like a book, as opposed to what the Mate X and the Mate XS is, and more mimicking the Galaxy Fold sort of design from Samsung. The picture or photo that best shows the main points of the design is a 3-dimensional picture. So yeah, that's what they've done. These are basically 3D pictures of the phone. I don't know if you could call them 3D pictures, but they do give you a good sense of what the product is supposed to do. And the last point here is the brown area in the middle of the main view and the square brown area on the right side of the rear view are both display screens. So there you are. That's basically this area right here, as well as this area right here. So yeah, I think that pretty much sums up this video. Now, one more thing that's different is that the Mate X and the XS actually had 3 displays. It had one on the front, one on the back to use the cameras, and then one main big display, which was the foldable one. This one only has 2, so that might be another different you'd want to look out for. But let me know what you guys think about this sort of concept from Huawei. Are you looking forward to it? Do you think Huawei should move to this trend? Because I personally don't think they should do it. They have a great product. They have a way to stand out from the competition, and they shouldn't really focus on a design or borrowing a design from competition when the competition is fierce. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Thanks for watching. This was Vaibhav, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.